Chapter 254. Assault of the Zombie Army. Translator, Chibi General Editor, Chibi General. Ding Hao looked down at the caravan from the base of the mountain as he hid behind some bushes, licking his lips excitedly. According to the information in the cave, as long as I kill 1,000 people and amass a zombie army, I can leave this place and go to Jiaozhe Mountain to become a formal disciple of Master. Ding Hao was originally a villager, but was recruited to be a laborer by a passing caravan. However, the caravan was attacked by a large number of zombies when they were passing through Mubai Mountain. He was abandoned along with dozens of other servants as cannon fodder. While all the other servants died one after another, he ran deep into the mountain in panic. Just when he was driven into a corner, he discovered a cave. None of the zombies dared to approach this cave. He entered this cave and discovered a demonic inheritance. As it turns out, this was the hidden inheritance of that demonic goo master who killed the whole clan and erected the tombstone in the ruins. This inheritance was deeply hidden, and only mortals were allowed to inherit it. Ding Hao awakened his aperture in this cave and began to cultivate, passing each test one by one. He only had C-grade aptitude originally, but with the use of a rare goo in the cave, his aptitude upgraded to B-grade. He concentrated fully on cultivating, and after spending over 8 years, he reached rank 3 realm, which was the criteria to enter the final secret chamber. The final secret chamber contained a stone slab, which had an inscription left by that demonic goo master. I profess myself as the second zombie king. If a fated individual truly arrives here, if you so wish, you can go to Jiaozhe Mountain to be my official disciple and follow me to roam the southern border. As the final test, the second zombie king required the inheritor to kill 1,000 people and also raise a large zombie army. There were detailed standards to the test, such as how many white-hair zombies, black-hair zombies, and green-hair zombies should be in the zombie army. However, if there was a blue-hair zombie, just one would suffice to meet the condition. Ding Hao was an honest man, and honest people usually had a strong point. They were steadfast. He cultivated on Mubai Mountain alone for over 8 years. He had to endure the silence and loneliness, having only the zombies as his companions as he cultivated bit by bit to rank 3. He had been a servant who could only be a spectator to the world of goo masters. Thus he did not understand many things. During the time of his bewilderment, this inscription on the stone slab no doubt gave him a whole new direction and a goal to strive. The fact that the second zombie king had also been a servant, and their backgrounds were similar, resonated even more with Ding Hao's heart. After reading the inscription, Ding Hao started killing people and amassing his zombie army. Ding Hao soon realized these two missions actually complemented each other. He could use the corpses of the people he killed to obtain new zombies, and the new zombies could thereby increase his strength to kill more people. Mubai Mountain was located by one of the 3 most important trade routes of southern border, with caravans passing through it every month. Ding Hao spent another 3 years of time to reach this point where he was close to accomplishing the mission. The caravan at the base of this mountain would be his final stepping stone to success. And it was a perfect prey. There were caravans of all sizes, some big and some small. Ding Hao could do nothing more than hide far away every time a large-scale caravan passed by. He did not dare to attack the mid-scale caravan as well. Only against these small-scale caravans could Ding Hao make his move and secretly command the zombies to attack. When his luck was good, these caravans would abandon some livestock or servants to flee. When his luck was bad and ran into some tough nuts, the zombies would be slaughtered and inflict great losses to him. At those times, he could only slowly amass more zombies again. However, this caravan was smaller than even small-scale caravans and seemed to have already suffered huge damage. It was like an old man struggling at death's door who could fall over with a light push. Ding Hao had confidence he could deal with this caravan. He even felt this was a gift sent by the heavens. It was nighttime. Dark clouds flitted past in the sky, hiding the moon. The light was dim around the camp. Kill! Ding Hao's eyes suddenly brightened as he willed. The zombie army, which was already arranged properly, moved stealthily towards the camp from all directions. What sound is this? A very vigilant, investigative goo master positioned outside the camp seemed to have heard something. What is it? The few goo masters beside him were tensed. The 5 goo masters motionlessly stared at the darkness ahead of them. Although the moon was covered by the dark clouds, there was a huge bonfire burning in the camp. The bonfire produced crackling sounds as the wind brushed past. In the midst of the flickering flames, a zombie covered with white hair hopped into the investigative goo master's vision. The few goo masters looked at each other before laughing out loud. Ha ha, a white hair zombie. Tisk, getting worried over nothing scared the hell out of me. Xiao-san, go take care of this unlucky zombie, the leader of this group of goo masters said indifferently. White hair zombies were very weak, weaker than even the common wild beasts. Yes, boss. A young goo master laughed and walked towards the zombie. Be careful of its corpse poison. It will be troublesome if you are infected, as I do not have an antidote type goo, the healing master in this group reminded. Understood, understood. Do you take me as a 3-year-old child? The young goo master impatiently waved his hand. If he was really infected with corpse poison, he could ask other goo masters to heal him, but it would cost half a primeval stone at minimum. However, white hair zombies attacked in a set pattern and was easy to dodge. The young goo master had already killed many of them since entering Mubi Mountain. There is no need to worry about this thing as long as I pay attention to dodging. Oh! The young goo master was mumbling to himself when he suddenly stopped on the spot, his voice stuck at his throat. His pupils shrunk rapidly and his mouth opened wide, his face revealing an extremely frightened expression. What is it? The 4 goo masters at the rear felt something amiss and immediately asked. The young goo master came to his senses. His whole body shook as if it was electrocuted before he immediately turned around and began running. Quick, sound the alarm! There are zombies! He screamed, his face filled with extreme fear. It is only a white hair zombie. Why are you freaking out? What the fuck? The 4 goo masters all screamed. Oh, there were a few hundred white hair zombies hopping towards the camp. There were also the stronger black hair zombies mixed within the horde. Under the illumination of the bonfire, one could make out the overlapping figures in the darkness, but no one knew how many zombies were pressing forward. Clang, clang, clang. In the quiet camp, the sound of the bells suddenly rang. There is a zombie group moving towards the camp. They have surrounded the whole camp. Quick, quick, everyone prepare to defend. Jia Long and some vice leaders climbed up a wooden wall and observed the situation, their expressions extremely grave. Damn it! Which deity did this caravan offend? Such incredibly bad luck. I have been to Mubi Mountain dozens of times, but have never seen such a large-scale zombie group. There is no use in complaining. Since we can't change this situation, we have to fight with our lives on the line if we want to live. We should combine our strength and defeat this zombie group. Everyone in the camp felt their morale increasing as they growled in anger. In contrast, the zombie army was completely silent, other than the constant sound of the jumping and landing. The troop arrangement in the 2 sides formed a strange and clear contrast. The battle unfolded completely. Goo masters relied on the defense of wooden walls and launched all kinds of long-range attacks. All kinds of color flashed around the camp. Icicles, fireballs, vines, rolling boulders, and so on collided right into the vanguard of the zombies. Large numbers of white hair zombies fell, cut into pieces, burnt to ashes, froze into ice cubes or stone rolled into meat paste. Kill, slaughter them all, ha 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 ha. Ding Hao was observing all this from up the mountain with a cold smile on his face. He was no longer the inexperienced guy he once was. These white hair zombies were cannon fodder meant to waste the Goo Master's primeval essence. Sure enough, after some time, the Goo Master's attacks became less frequent and weak. I am out of steam. I don't have much primeval essence left. I also need to recover my primeval essence. Can anyone take my place? Damn it, why are these white-hair zombies not decreasing? There were too few goo masters in the caravan, while the white-hair zombies seemed to be endless. Finally, they were able to resist the pressure and reach the wooden wall. Under the attack of the zombie group, these temporarily constructed crude wooden walls immediately let out dangerous creaking sounds. Damn it! Block them! Block them! Call in the reserve forces. Both sides entered a deadlock around the wooden wall. One side charged forward, while the other side guarded this barrier. The huge losses to the white-hair zombies caused Ding Hao's heart to ache. It is your turn, my babies. With a thought in his mind, a batch of black-hair zombies charged forward from the rear and entered the battlefield. White-haired zombies were slow and could be harmed by sunlight, so they couldn't move around at daytime. If they fed on blood for years, they could evolve into black-hair zombies. Black-hair zombies were covered with black hair. Their strength and defensive ability were stronger than the white-hair zombies, and their hopping speed was much faster. Although they still received damage from sunlight, they didn't fear it like the white-hair zombies. Black-hair zombies had the strength of 100 Beast King. Ding Hao sent over 50 black-hair zombies in this batch, all of them charging forward in a group. They looked for a gap in the camp's defensive wall and immediately destroyed a part of it like dried twigs. Despite the camp sending more manpower to reinforce this gap, several black-hair zombies were still able to charge into the inner camp. A black-hair zombie swept around its arms and sent a rank 1 Goo Master flying. The Goo Master fell on the ground and was unable to stand up immediately. The black-hair zombie pounced at him. I am finished! The Goo Master closed his eyes in despair, but suddenly he heard a loud sound. He opened his eyes. A strong figure was blocking in front of him, while that black-hair zombie collapsed far away. It is Lord He Tu of Zhang Clan. The Goo Master's heart shook. That black-hair zombie's chest had caved in from Fang Yuan's punch, but it wasn't dead. Instead, it hopped up and charged towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was covered with a layer of white light armor. He slightly frowned and waited for it to come near him. Then he grabbed its 2 arms and pulled them fiercely. The black-hair zombie was immediately torn apart into 2 halves. Foul blood that carried corpse poison splattered, but was completely repelled by the white light armor. Fang Yuan casually threw the 2 halves of the corpse. Even a myriad Beast King-level blue-hair zombie would die from such injuries. Thank you, Lord He Tu, for saving my life. The rescued Goo Master was completely absorbed in Fang Yuan's momentum and said with a voice filled with joy and reverence. Fang Yuan ignored him, but directed his gaze towards a chaotic battlefield.